What is up? Welcome to day 13 of building a Techno Set from scratch. My name's Tom Cosm. We are kind of continuing on from day 12, which was last night, where we were fixing problems. In my initial first performance, we were having some issues. So we fixed up a lot of those problems, and now I'm optimizing it even more to try and prevent future problems and make it easier to perform. And I'm going to be doing a studio performance of this tomorrow at 12 PM AEST. That's Saturday in Australia, AEST. And hopefully everything should work all perfectly. Yeah, streaming YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. So if you guys have any questions, how are you doing today? Nice to see you and all that stuff. Let me know if you see something I do wrong or have any advice. Just go ahead. I'm a little bit tired, didn't have very good sleep, but I'm going to power through this as quickly as I can. This may be in two parts. I might do one part doing the optimization and then the second part doing a little bit more sound design. So I might have a break for an hour or two in between the streams. We're going to knock out an hour or so at least for this stream here. So in the last stream, I had a list of things that went wrong, a list of things that we changed, things like reducing CPU load, fixing up the automator, rise and fall of things, and stuff like that. What we haven't done is the drones and the brainwave stuff and the sound design stuff. So I want to create some more variations of the tracks that I've created and give them different colors and things like that and make sure they're all working. The drones and brainwave stuff, it's going to be fun. We're going to make 8 really weird, morbid drones and get my brainwaves controlling them. So I might do these in the second stream that I do today. We'll see how we go. But over on the MIDI mapping area, this is what I want to focus on. One thing I found in the live performance was I was having a very difficult time, obviously because the push wasn't really working properly during the performance, but navigating the set. Because it's so big, I was having a hard time getting to where I wanted to. I had to use my trackpad, and yeah, hot nightclubs and they get sweaty and you click on the wrong things all the time. A mouse would have been good, but there's no space. So what I've done is I've got my launch pad here, just sitting around, and I did some tests before the stream and I plugged it into the USB 3 hub, and the USB 3 hub seems to manage both the controls and the launch pad with absolutely no problems whatsoever. If we go into Ableton Live here and look at our preferences, you'll see that I've got the push 2 set up as the control surface, which is all good, so that's doing everything that it needs to. And then on the input, I've got my launch control 1, launch control 2, and now I've got the launch pad. And the launch pad I don't have as a control surface, I only have it as remote in, because I want to use all those buttons to navigate around my set. And I think that's the first thing I want to focus on in this stream, is to get that sorted so we can jump all around the set, and when I'm playing I can, you know, get to where I want to be with just a push of a button. I thought that's a good use of the launch pad, as it has lots of buttons. So as you may know, we have 8 tracks. Each track has 8 layers. Each layer has a synthesizer, or 8 synthesizers. So that kind of covers our middle buttons here. And then we've got some buttons up the top, which will be good for things like opening up the automator, initializing the automator, things like that, triggering the risers, triggering the fallers. And then these ones down the side mean we can jump to a group of tracks within the actual set. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and do that now. It's going to be a little bit of a process, but that's all good. What I want to do is I'm going to go into my kick 1 here. So I've got kick 1, kick 2, kick 3, kick 4. They're all synthesized, of course. Let me just make sure all the operators are open. I was considering putting the operators in racks and having 8 macros to control the operators, but with the push 2 control and being able to get into all the parameters in the actual synthesizer, I kind of like that better. It would be easier to put it in macros and just have 8 things that I change, but I kind of like the idea of having raw control over the synthesis, so that is my main goal for this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So over on kick 1, I'm hoping this is just going to work. I'm going to go into MIDI mode. I'm going to select the operator, and this is track 1, kick 1. Let's hit the button. Cool, so it's assigned C-2 to MIDI channel 1. I'm hoping there's not a conflict. Let's have a look. Channel 1, C-2, no. Okay, that's good. Let's go to kick 2, selecting the operator title. This is kick number 2, so we want to be going down this way. Kick number 3. I'm just checking for conflicts here. Kick number 4. Kick number 5. Kick number 6, 7, and 8. Now let's just test that really quickly to make sure it all works. So in theory, if I go like this, it jumps to each one of the 8 kick drums that I've created, and of course that will update the operator or the push controls here. So if I very quickly want to go in and say I want the kick decay time to be longer, I can quickly go into like kick number 4 and then go into the menu of the operator and find the envelopes, or change the attacks and do things like that. So that's what I want to be able to do with the 8x8 grid. So I'm going to set that up really quickly with the bass tracks as well. So the bass tracks are in instrument racks, which is a little bit different, but it should be completely the same. So let's go into MIDI mode. What's up, Sunday? What's up, Dr. Node? Wycross, Hacken. How's the new laptop? The laptop is handling the set like a pro. In all of the issues I've faced, nothing has been to do with the laptop. The laptop is outstanding and outperforming the old MacBook, I really have to say. I noticed that this track here has a MIDI map, which I don't want, so I'm going to delete that MIDI map. So back into the bass track here, I'm going to go bass 1, operator 1, this button, check for conflicts, no. I'm just worried because this is on channel 1 and I believe one of these are on channel 1 as well, and they're sending note values. So let's go to bass 2, donk, no conflicts, bass 3, bass 4, bass 5, bass 6, bass 7, and bass 8. Yeah, I don't think we're going to run into any conflicts here, so let me just go into MIDI mode and test that that works. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, you can see how I can quickly jump to any parameter that's currently playing, any synthesizer, which is the raw source of the sound, and change them using the awesome push interface. Let's move over to the snare. So these are in drum racks. Snare 1, let's go back into MIDI mode. So operator 1 will be this guy, number 2, this guy, number 3, 4. I'm trying to get all the, did I just, no, that's good. I'm trying to get all the procedural optimization stuff out of the way as quickly as I can, because I know it's not the most exciting part of these streams. And yeah, then I might take a break, refresh my brain, and then we'll do some sound design. We'll make some really cool drones and some really weird things. So let's quickly test those snares now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good, that's done. Moving over to the hats. Back to MIDI mode. So these are on number 4. That's number 1. That's number 2. 3. Even an arpeggiator here. That's interesting. 4. There's a lot of stuff in the set that I've kind of forgotten what I've done. Like, I forgot we used an arpeggiator to try and get a clap type sound. That's cool. Or a rolling hat sound. So that should all be done. I'm really happy there's no conflicts with the MIDI notes here. So hat 1, hat 2, oh, sorry. Hat 1, hat 2, hat 3, hat 4, hat 5, hat 6, hat 7, hat 8. Moving over to hats number 2, this is a drum rack as well. So hats 2, boom. I'm opening up the operators just because when I do perform this, I'd like to actually see the operator while I'm changing parameters. We did have them minimized before just for screen real estate reasons. Number 8. Yep, that seemed to work. These conflicts are getting pretty close, but I think it's going to be sweet. As we don't have the push sending, it's just a control surface, not sending CC or note or remote values. I don't think we should run into any issues. Like, say on the drone tracks, maybe I might want to play a melody or something. It shouldn't conflict with this, I'm hoping. Anyway, let's test that. So that's hats number 2. these are named incorrectly, so I'm going to rename these quickly because I want to tidy this up. I am going to share this patch when I'm done with the performance tomorrow. I really want to encourage people to build their own from scratch, but I will put this out there because I know it's going to be helpful for a lot of people who want to build their own live performance set. So I'm just naming it correctly just because I know the public is going to be looking at this. What's up, Paul, over on Facebook? Hope Columbia is doing good. Okay, so that's hats 2 done. Let's have a look at that. This is hats 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. Moving on quickly, as we can, to the percussion track. So these are instrument racks. Back into MIDI mode. Percussion track is number 7, so we'll go operator 1, 7. Let me just keep that open. I'm just keeping my eye on every note just to make sure there are no conflicts. Because it would suck to push one of these buttons unexpectedly and have, you know, like one of the fallers trigger or something like that. But yeah, as I said, if you're following along and you don't actually want to get into like the full synthesizer to change the sound when you're playing live, you can group this into an audio effect rack and assign the macros, the 8 things, decay, cutoffs, whatever, and do it that way. I just prefer to do it this way because I think it's a bit more hardcore and it might make it a bit more difficult for me to learn and practice, but ultimately it'll be really good once I get good at knowing what I'm doing. So let's test that really quick. That was the percussion track. So pick 1, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, pick 6, pick 7, pick 8. Very good. Now onto the synth track. Are these named correctly? Yep, they are. There is a space that should be there. So synth 1, MIDI, synth 1, operator. This is number 7. Dunk, dunk, 7, and 8. No conflicts. Okay, let's check that out. So synth 1, synth 2, synth 3, synth 4, synth 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh, this is working great. Okay, let's go over and do the final synth 2 track now. So again, all operators. 1, open you up. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's such a close conflict. Look, B3 and B4. Ooh. What was I up to? 6, 7, and 8. So that should be all good now. Let's get out of MIDI mode. I'll just test that synth 2 track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jump over to the bass. Jump over to the percussion. Jump over to the snare. So you can see now I can jump anywhere and the operator instantly attaches itself to the synthesizer and updates accordingly. I don't know if you can see the screen. Oops, excuse me. If you can see the screen properly on the operator, but it updates all the parameters accordingly depending on what I'm on, and then I can go into the menus and use all the macros and all the knobs to change things within the synth directly, which I think is pretty cool and will add a lot of variation to things. Now that we've got the Automator effects machine working, which really does bring the texture and the grunt and everything, just having that the ability to actually change the synth as well is just, those two things combined is pretty incredible, I reckon. So that's good. So we also have 8 buttons up the top and 8 buttons down the bottom. What's up, T3K Head? Will the live set be available to download when finished? Great work. Yes, it will. So tomorrow I'm doing a performance of this, as I said. I'm going to do it in my studio. I'm going to get everything set up. I'm going to try my best to make sure nothing goes wrong. I'm going to do an hour performance, and then once I've done that, I'm going to release version I guess 1 or whatever it's currently at. I have yet to decide whether I'm going to charge money for this. It's a bit of a moral thing. It requires me thinking quite a bit. I might talk to my girlfriend a bit. I've obviously put a lot of time into this, and I want to encourage people to start from scratch. So all the videos are free. I want you to watch those. I want people to build it themselves, but I do understand there are people who would actually like this as its own unit. So I don't know, I might make it a pro member thing. I haven't put any pro member content up on my website for a while, so that's only $10 a month to download it. I might sell it as a single item. It wouldn't be very much. Or I might opt for a pay what you want type thing. I'm not sure yet, but it's definitely going to be available to the public one way or another, or I may just do it for free. Yeah, I want to give it away for free. That is the absolute, you know, definite thing that I would want. But because this has taken up about 3 solid weeks of my life, I do need to kind of counter that with some kind of income. I don't make a lot of money, and it would be good to be able to get something back from that. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sporadic. Sometimes I just spend a month on something and then give it away, so who knows. Ultimately, I just want people to write music and make cool live sets. So now that's done. So we got A buttons up the top, and we got these down the side. The side ones I think are going to be pretty obvious. Before I get into the MIDI mapping, so what I've got is track 1 is here. I'll highlight it for you. Like, so I should save it now. Remember, version control was the first thing and the last thing in the last stream, and I wasn't very good at it, so we're doing version control. So I'm going to save this as 1.0.8, and I'm going to go all synths MIDI mapped. Because a big problem, if you didn't catch the last stream, a big problem that I had was being a producer, my version control sucks, and when I did have a massive crash on the day of the party, I had to roll back really far in order to restore work. So I'm trying to keep version control up really well. So we've got track 1 here, and then we've got this kind of scene which is a placeholder. What I'm going to do for these placeholder scenes actually, just so it's really obvious on the push, is I'm going to insert a new MIDI clip. And I'm even going to rename this to dashes just to keep up with this. You say it's worth paying for? I think it's worth paying for as well, but the thing is, as I said, I'm just going to duplicate this across. As I said, you know, like sometimes I make stuff and I charge for it, and I do it specifically to make income so I can pay my rent and food and stuff and keep doing the free stuff. But then things like this, based on the feedback I've been getting and just my intuition, like, this is incredibly helpful, I think, especially promoting live music, how fun live music is, how you can do it yourself. You know, so it's a bit of a ethical kind of dilemma. Like, this is the kind of shit that I feel should be free, but I don't know. I'm gonna think about that tonight. Anyway, so what I've done is I've added a bunch of empty MIDI clips on this separator track, and I'm just going to paste it on every separator track. And you'll notice up in my push, you'll see now that we have a whole solid red line, and it's just a visual indicator for me. I don't know what this one is. That's a rogue clip, so I'm going to paste that in between each track, which there are 8 of. You reckon if I give the max patch I should take money? Well, I don't know. Again, well, I mean, my girlfriend's like, you gotta charge for this. You've spent so long on it, and everyone wants it. You know, like. But then I know I was just raised. I'm a teacher. My family are teachers. You know, my joy in life is helping other people. It really is, and you know, so happiness, money. I don't know. But let's stick to the task on hand. So I've put those red lines in, which is really good. So now what I'm going to do is map these 8 buttons to the 8 separate tracks. I'm going to map them just to the start of the track. So at the moment we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes in each track. By the end of today I want to have 8. These lead up quite slowly, so you know it's kind of like intro type stuff, and then this loop is the main loop. Then I want to have 2 more loops after that, 2 more scenes after that, which are the main loop duplicated but with a bit of variation, just so when I'm playing the main loop I might want to step it up a notch a little bit or change it to something else a little bit. And then the final loop I want it to be the main loop but really stripped back so I can start mixing in the next loop, but we'll get to that later. So with the mapping, let's go into our MIDI mode here. I'm going to go to the first scene, track on. Is it going to trigger the scene though? I don't want it to trigger the scene. Well, let's do a test. So I'm going to pick this button here. I believe it is going to trigger the scene. Yep, it's going to trigger the scene, which is not what I want. So, sorry, I just stopped the beautiful ambience there. Let's get that started again. So let me just think about how I can skip to this scene without triggering it. I think in MIDI mode you get extra options down here. Yeah. It's a little tip, not many people know this. When you go into MIDI mode, you get a few extra options you can map for MIDI. So, for example, here is a play scene button. This is a move up scene button, moves down scene button. This is a scene number button. If you have an encoder, you can flick through your scenes really quickly. I'll show you that really quick because I haven't used this encoder here. So if I was to go like this, still using Windows, sorry guys, I'm a bit fucked on my modifier keys. So if I go out of MIDI mode, now I can scroll through all my scenes really fast like this. So that's a cool little feature which I found out quite. So the ability to jump to the scene without triggering the scene. I mean, the first thing that springs to mind is to just, if I jump to one of these MIDI clips, however, it's going to stop the track that's currently playing. So ultimately what I want is, let's have a look over here. We've got our morph track. We've got our automated track. Now the automated track doesn't do anything apart from the Max for Live content. So what I can probably get away with is adding in a clip like so. Let me just try this twice, and then track 2 I'll add a clip. So if I was to MIDI map that clip to this button, yes, and MIDI map it to this one. Let me just make sure. Let's get out of this mode. We'll go 1 and 2. Okay, so that works well. It doesn't change the track. It doesn't skip across to the automated track, which is good. But you can see how it quickly snaps between track 1 and track 2. And even though you can't see it on the push, that should have a different effect. I should test that. Let me just bring the ambient down. So we're on track 1. Let's hit the start button here. Very good. Okay, now let's hit 2. Oh, it did skip across. Okay, so that's an issue. Okay, well I'm glad I tested that. So that's not a good idea. The problem is if I add another scene here, what's going to happen is, I should get rid of the MIDI mapping from those clip slots. What's going to happen is it's going to mess up all the arguments I made in the Techno automated machine. Now, what I really should do for version 2, I guess for optimization, is instead of using arguments, I should allow people to choose what tracks the automated machine affects. So at the moment in the actual machine, it's hardwired into controlling these tracks, which have specific numbers. So if I was to go ahead and add another track here, it's going to move all the numbers to the left one, which is going to be a pain in the ass. However, there might be a solution here which is a bit hacky. I'm going to try it. We don't need to save currently. A group, so see how I have the dummy clips grouped and I have the automated tracks grouped. A group can actually be, is regarded as a track. So if I was to remove if I was to ungroup one of these two and then add a new track, that should still keep everything in balance. What's up, Osk? Can you create a short tutorial for your max patch? No. I actually think that's physically impossible. Maybe I could. I mean, I know it in my head now. Like, if I was to start from scratch again, I could build it way faster, because part of this series was me trying to figure out how to build it. I'll consider that for later down the track, but yeah, it will have to be further down the track. Cowboy, what's up on YouTube? Dummy clips. Yeah, if I trigger the dummy clips, it's gonna jump across to the dummy clips area. I want it to remain here, so I think I might try the ungrouping option. Let me just have a look and see which group would be good. So the fills track, which is the dummy clips track, currently doesn't have any effects on it whatsoever. The automator, oops, the automator also doesn't, I believe. So what I'm going to do is a bit of an experiment. So I'm going to ungroup this. So that's removed one track from the series, and that means that I should be able to insert a new MIDI track, and I'm going to put it at the start here. So hopefully I've subtracted one and I've added one, and hopefully everything should still be all okay. I'm glad you think so, Cowboy. It's going to be pretty cool when it's all working properly. So let me test out this method really quick. So track 1, here's a MIDI clip. And we'll just do track 1 and track 2 like we did before. Track 1, we're going to MIDI mode, and we'll map it to this, and we'll map this one to this, get out of MIDI mode, and that means I can still see all the tracks there. We'll get, okay, let's hit 1. Let's stop all the clips and just make sure. So hitting 1 jumps to here, hitting 2 jumps to here. This is good. This is what I want. It means I can go ahead and play shit. Jump up to track 1. Okay, the push isn't following along, but that's all good. I can do all that with this. Okay, I'm going to stick with that. Even though the push doesn't jump to the place, I don't need that. I don't want it to jump to the place. I can quite happily use the octave keys to get to where I need to be. If I'm going to be controlling clips, that's fine. All I want to be able to do is quickly jump. Like if I'm working over on the dummy clips or the return tracks or the automator, I want to be able to quickly jump back to the original stuff. And also what happens is when I'm playing, if I trigger the dummy clip automators, see how it jumps over? Because those clips are triggered, it jumps over to the dummy clips over here. Or specifically the trigger track. So this means I should be able to get back to track 1 like that. So that's pretty cool. And then I can jump back like that. Okay, now that I've done that subtract a track and add a track thing, let's go to the automator and check that this works out all okay. So I'm going to open it up. If you didn't catch the last episode, we were having some issues with some of the functions weren't following along as quickly as the other ones, and it turns out to be a problem with the change object and the tempo. So the tempo needed to be changed. Some of them were going at a different tempo than the others. So that's why we now have a big init button, which makes sure everything is working. Let's open it up and have a look. We also did some different styling. I know it's very grey and black and doesn't look incredible, but I'm kind of going half-half here. This is really helpful for me when I'm playing. This is a good display for playing. You know, I've got a nice green line, so I can do that. I can use my touch screen to add points all over the place like this. That was pretty cool already. Let's bring the beat repeat grid down and make it 2 bars long. Get some reverb. I always get carried away. This is too much fun now that it's working. And this is just on the kick track. And you'll notice that I've put the name on the function itself. The reason I've done that is because for some reason when I was playing live, just having the name of the device down here where it was originally, this blank space, it was a little bit confusing. I don't know, maybe it was a bit too small or it was just in a blind spot, but I was often changing a parameter or trying to change a parameter that was incorrect. It was usually like I wanted to change a reverb instead of a delay or vice versa. So this way it's like right in my face, which is really, really good. And also in version 2, which will come later, I'm going to have presets in this area. If you didn't follow the last episode, this is where we're going to have a drop-down menu and a save button. So the drop-down menu by default is going to have maybe 16 or 32 preset patterns, which are going to be ramps up, ramps down, ramps up to 50%, up and down and up. Some wobbles. We can have sawtooths. We can do sine wave patterns, LFO type patterns. So the presets will be able to quickly choose from a preset, and there's also going to be a save button which will allow you to draw something yourself, quite complicated. I don't know, like something weird like this, and you go, hey, that's a really cool pattern for this particular thing. You can just hit save and it's added to the drop down menu. It'll give you a quick dialogue on what you want to name it, and you'll name it and it'll go in there. That's the plan for version 2. I know how to build it in my head, but I know it's going to take a good 4 to 8 hours to build, so I'm not going to be doing it for this version. Anyway, so that is working, right? So let's just play everything but the kick track. And all this effects is doing its crazy shit. I'll get rid of the beat repeat and chance. Obviously the kick is not the best example. Let's move over to something else. What's the better one? It's a sine bass, not going to be too much fun. Snare, closed hats, open. We'll use that percussion one just to double test. So we've got low pass filter. Don't want to go too low there. Add a bit of curve. I don't know why. It's just fun. And let's add a point here and have it completely off. And then open, and then off, and then open. Do a bit of a gate. It's a bit too extreme. Let's just do a little low pass at the end. We'll make it 2 bars long. Let's move the dry wet up. We'll have it coming up halfway and then again, so like a little bit of a pumping effect. We'll keep the feedback in a nice steady value. Maybe bring the dry wet up to 75%. Ah, see, this is the delay, but that's all good. I've done this so many times. So that's the delay time. Let's make this value a little bit smaller so we can have some weird stuff going around in the very lower end of the spectrum. Let's bring that right up to 100%. Let's bring the feedback up to 100%, see what happens. And we've got our frequency shifter LFO amount here. Let's make that 2 bars long, and the shift rate, let's have that go from here down and up. So that's quite drastically different now. Just get rid of all the bass stuff, the kick drum stuff. Awesome. So with that automator, what I might do, actually no, let's finish what we were doing. So that feedback delay is going crazy. Let's really quickly do this MIDI thing. So we've got a track here, we got a clip here, let's put a clip here, and a clip here. And I can minimize this track right down so it's not really in the way once we've MIDI mapped it. Track 7 and track 8. Okay, let's map away. So I've already done the first 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. This is 6. This is 7. And this is 8. What I am going to do is I'm going to remove all the stop buttons from this MIDI track so I don't accidentally... I just don't like stop buttons when they're not necessary. So I'm going to go remove stop buttons. So let's test that out. Track 1. Very good. Track 2. Track 3. Track 4. Track 5. Track 6. Track 7. Track 8. And it's really good for me to kind of quickly see what track's playing. I can go, oh, that one. Now I can bring in this stuff here. And then I can go, oh, I want to go to track 6 now. So that's really good. So I'm happy with that. Cowboy, how you doing? You enjoying this? I imagine it's probably the first time you've tuned in. We've been building this up from scratch. So if you're interested in how all of this was made, go back to series 1 and start watching. What's up? Rakuniak23 over on Twitch, how you doing? And of course Octonode. I don't need to say hi to you, man. You're always welcome in my online house. So I should rename this track to MIDI Jumper. And now what I can do is I can make that tiny so it's pretty much irrelevant. So it's just a quick way for me to be able to jump between the tracks, which is awesome. So let me just quickly go. I want to go to the percussion track of track number 3. So I need to go here. Oh no, here. This is what I've got to learn. And so now with the operator, I can get involved and start mucking around with things. This is kind of just noise. So let's go to the OSC envelopes. We're on OSC A. Maybe if we go to the global mode and change the time. So you see I can get into the synths now and really drastically affect the sound. Let's go back to the operators. We'll go for oscillator. Oops. Operator. Go for oscillator C or D, because these are frequency modulating. Let's try a different one. Let's try B. If I need to go back, I just got to get used to using these MIDI controls here. That's hats, that's percussion, that's all I want. Okay, let's go back and change that. We're on OSC V, bring the first back down. Sorry, OSC B. And we'll go to our global and bring that time back down. Then we can go to track 3 and get a kick drum happening. That's all solid. Very good. So I'm happy with that. Cowboy, trying to figure out how to do this. I got to push 2. Awesome. Yeah, they're amazing machines. Usually used for jamming and all that kind of carry on. But I love them in live situations for this kind of thing, just because the way that it works as a control surface. Like, I can pick any parameter, anything I want, and instantly I have complete control over it using the knobs and the menu system, and I love that in a live situation. It means I don't have to touch the computer as much. Okay, so I should go ahead and save this now. What I am going to do is clear the automator first, like so, and then let's go ahead and save this live set as. We'll go 1.0.9. We'll go tracks, MIDI mapped. Very good. So now we've got 8 more buttons on the launch control, and yeah, I definitely want to have the first 3 to open the automator, clear the automator. I'm not going to use the init. I don't think the init I'm going to run into problems, and if I do, I'm only going to ever have to hit it once, so it's not really a necessary button that needs to be MIDI mapped. So let's just test that really quick. Let's jump to track 1. Move up to track 1. Very good. And let's open the automator with MIDI. Awesome. Pick the busy clip. That's cool, so I can go out of there and then I can start mucking around with other things, like let's try to trigger another scene here. We'll trigger the intro of this one. But I'm like, oh, okay, now I want to reset the automator so I can hit this button. Did that work? I've noticed that this is a bug. It's overlaying it here. I have to go back to the... Ooh, that's interesting. I need to open it and close it before I can... Ooh, see, this makes me a little bit worried. You see how this is now overlaid no matter what track I go on? I'm not sure if I like that. Clear, open, close. And now it's not doing it. So what I might do instead, that overlay thing is definitely going to be a problem, is instead of having open, it seems like opening it from another track is when I get that problem, but when I have the automated track selected, it does open it. So what I might do is I might select the auto track as the first button, then open as the second button, and then clear as the third button. Let's try that. So that means I need 2 button pushes to open it, but that's all good. Alright, let's test this out. Let's jump across to number 1. What track are we playing here? Number 2. Let's go automator, open, good, close it, and now if we move to a scene, it's gone. So I can go automator, open. So it's just 2 buttons pushing really quickly, which is handy. Like that. And then that doesn't do the overlay thing. I'm not sure why that happens. Obviously some kind of bug, and when you get things like that, that's when things decide they might want to crash on you, so I'm not going to fuck with that right now at this stage. Let me test the clear button really quickly. So let's just get everything... let's just get that chord. Why is the Max console just opened? Okay, maybe this is good. Oh, I accidentally opened the Max patch, which I didn't mean to do. My apologies. Cowboy, I haven't decided if I'm selling it or not yet. It is definitely going to be available to the public. Whether it's free or sold or pay what you want, I'm not sure yet. I need to have a good ethical think about that. I've put a lot of work into this. I want to encourage people to start from the scratch and build their own, but I can see how having a finished product could be quite helpful. Okay, so now I've got that chords just playing. We're gonna go automator. We're gonna open it. Let's just do a quick low pass sweep, 1 bar. Very good. Let's close that down. Go back to track 2, and let's hit the clear button and see what happens. Did it clear it? It did. I think that synth is just by default doing that. We can do good tests here. We'll do wobbles. Okay, let's go back to the track. What track were we at? This one. And let's try and clear the LFO now. Please work. Yep. Okay, so that works. So that's good. Those 3 buttons are done. They're on the automator. That's good. That means I have 5 buttons left. Where do I want to assign these? Don't need to assign them to dummy clips. Don't need to assign it maybe to the sidechain. No, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the threshold of the sidechain to this knob. This is the only knob that I'm not using, which is good. I'm going to go into my mapping area here. There it is there. I'm going to make it from -infinity to 0 decibels. I don't want it to go up to 6. So I'll CC49. Oh no, that's on channel 1. Okay, so no conflicts there. So that just means no sidechain to the kick. Maximum sidechain. So that's my sidechain knob, which is good. Because I did find that some of the tracks needed more sidechain, some needed less. I'm just going to keep it simple. Infinity ratio. Just to get the pump. And we also assigned all the reverbs and stuff to all the send channels to the sidechain as well yesterday. Let's pick a track. So let's send heaps of things to the reverb. Send the snare to this. Just send. Lots of feedback. No sidechain, but let's turn the snare off that one. Let's go for the dub delay. Get rid of the reverbs. Get rid of the synths altogether. So that's being sent over here. And of course now I control all this with this shit here. Bring the gain up a bit more. And sidechain. Quite fun. Boost that up. Anyway, bring the gain down to an acceptable value. If you're not sure on how I made this, all it is a send track which is sending back into itself, and then we have a simple delay with 0 feedback, 100% wet, set on 3/16 notes, and a limiter to control the volume. So that means that it's just going to keep feeding back into itself, basically creating a traditional dub delay in a digital realm. And it's really cool because you can do those really awesome sweeping effects, and I've also added a reverb, erosion, auto pan. So each time it goes through that chain, it's going to apply that effect to each individual echo, which means you can get really out of control. So it's good to have that side chained as well. So I don't need to worry about mapping the side chain because now I have that on a knob, which is good. The riser track. So what we did yesterday is, let me stop all the clips. We have our riser track here, which of course we can create with these knobs here. What we decided is, because I've got a reverb here, sometimes I don't want it to stop completely. So these 8 tracks here, which are assigned to these 8 buttons, if I push one of these, it turns off the device. It turns off the riser device and plays a white noise thing. However, if I stop this and turn the instrument back on, play the riser, if I hit one of these 8 instead, it stops the clip rather than stop the instrument, so we still get the massive reverb, like so. So you can hear the reverb of that riser continuing. The problem is though, if I do use one of these 8 or one of these 8 knobs, it's turning the instrument effect rack off, and I don't want that. Well, I do want that, but I want to be able to turn it back on again at will without having to go into the track. So what I will do is I will go MIDI map, and I will map the power button of the instrument rack to this one, and I'll also map the, where are we here? The riser clip to this one here. Just while I'm there, because the riser clip is extremely constant, it's just a single C and everything is not tuned, I don't actually have to have any quantization on this. So if I turn the quantize to none, that means that if the riser is off, and this is off, at any stage I can hit that button, it turns the riser on. Oh, sorry, I turned it off by accident. So it's currently off. If it is off, I can hit this button. Boom. Oh no, it's a temporary button. That's annoying. I don't want that. What's up, people on Facebook? So I'm not really reading your messages. I'm having issues with my chat client at the moment. Let me just have a quick look. What's up, Ron? Abamil. Just everyone who's watching. Hope you're doing well. Streaming for an hour. Okay, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break and think about how I'm going to tackle this riser thing. I'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, we're back. Octanode's favourite part of all my streams. I had to play that when I was studying jazz at university for one of my final assessments. Fuck that song. I for 3 months just played it straight. And on a piano it's just like comping while like a singer or a sax is like and I'm just like oh my god, I had to get so drunk for that assessment. I passed. Everyone got drunk afterwards. Man, if you ever want to see like the most amount of people crying in your life in one place, actually that's an overstatement, but go to a music school on the day of their final assessment. Man, everyone just went straight to the bar across the street and people were crying, and especially jazz where improvisation is a big part and you get judged on your ability to improvise on the spot, which is a really kind of fucked up concept really, and really personal because everyone improvises. This is the second year. They've spent all this time developing their own style, and then to have a panel of old experienced jazz musicians judge you on your ability to improvise and your style, it's emotionally draining as fuck. But me and my mate figured that if we got drunk first, then we wouldn't have to cry afterwards, and we did, and we actually played a heap better. I don't condone getting drunk and going to your final exam. It was probably a young stupid thing, but it worked in this circumstance. But I'm not going to say it's going to work in every circumstance. So in this instrument rack here, Tom Cosm's Life Lessons. So what's happening when I push this button? It's a momentary button. So I don't really know what to do about this right now. That's the key map mode. MIDI mode. Let's have a look. So it goes from 64 to 127. I don't want that. I don't think I can change it hardware wise. I'm trying to toss up whether I can make a max for the device in a couple of minutes, I reckon, to counter this problem. I could also make it... I think I'm just going to build a max device really quickly for this. Excuse me. I should save this before I do that. So I'm going to save this to 1.0.10. What do we map? We did auto motor. MIDI mapping. Okay, so I didn't really want to do too much max stuff today, but let's get rid of that mapping really quickly there. Go out of MIDI mode, go into max. I'm going to add a max MIDI effect for this one, so it's before the instrument rack, like so. I'm going to open it up, and what I need is so it's a toggle, which is all good. So I'm just going to put in a live button, which is a very basic looking button that looks like this. We should make it a circle. And you click it, and that's all good, and it's MIDI mappable. But let's see what that outputs. It outputs a bang. I don't want that, so I'm going to go live text, and I'm going to go into the properties. I'm going to change it to button mode. I'm going to change it. I'm just going to say riser on, off. I should put this in quotations. Riser on, off, like so. Because when that outputs, we get a bang. What do we get at the second outlet? We get that. Maybe I can change it in the parameters. I think I can. Mode button bang when transition from 0 to 1. So that might only send one bang, which is good. So let's put a new object in just to check that. Print to console. I'm trying to make this as small as possible. Here's my console. Let's bang it. Bang, bang. So it doesn't bang on the off. So now it is turned into a toggle, which is really good. And what I need to do is create a live chooser. So paste from C74 live choosers, device parameters. Yep, that's what I want. I need to add a live object. So that chooser is going to allow us to choose the on-off button of that riser. We'll send the ID into here. The riser on-off, we want that to... I always want that button to turn it on. I never want it to turn it off because the other thing automates it off. So I'm going to say... I can't remember if power you need to go beyond 64, but anyway, I'm just going to go message box set value 127. So when that message is sent into the live object, once we've chosen the right power, which is this guy here, it will turn it on, and that will happen whenever this happens. So I should rename this to riser on, like so. Add these to presentation mode, like so. Make sure the patcher opens in presentation mode. Sorry, I know some of this is off screen. The fuck? Wrong thing, sorry. Inspector window. Yeah, here we go. Open in presentation. And that means I can just go, here is our selection, and here is our riser on button. That should work. So let's go save as. So we called it riser killer. Let's call this riser how do you spell resurrect? Resurrect? Rector? Doesn't really matter in the audio world, that'll work. And yeah, versioning 1.0.0. Riser resurrector. Now we can close that and close that. Let's assign this to the instrument rack parameter device on. So if I hit this button, it does not work. Why does it not work? Okay, let's open the max patch. Set value 127. Yeah, that should work. Maybe it needs to be set value 1. Yep, okay, set value 1, my apologies. So we will save that as riser redirector 1, corrected set value. And now that should be done. So if this is off, I hit this button, it turns it on. No matter how many times I hit it, it'll turn it on. So if we go into mapping mode now, map this to this button. If it's off, that turns it on. A little bit of a workaround, but that's a toggle button, or momentary button, sorry, and I just don't want to do it. This is the quickest way I can think of doing it, so there we go. So let's trigger one of these clips, which makes it turn off. So it's off, and then I can quickly turn it back on again. And I also want that button to trigger that clip from the start. This is interesting, because I think I already did that. So let me just hit that button again. So it does start the clip from the start. Yeah, that means we should... Yep, and then it turns it off. Very good. Hit the button. Okay, we have a very slight problem. What's happening now is what? Okay, let's stop that clip. Now hit the riser on button. We're getting audio. Why did the riser on button? Ah, okay, I know what's happening here. The faller is sending it's a big clip. It's sending a value here at the start of the clip and at the end. So both the start and the end are going to send the are going to turn it off. But that's okay because I'm only going to be using these like once or twice per set. So after I've triggered a faller for 8 bars, I don't have to worry about turning on the riser in those 8 bars that the fall is happening. Maybe in version 2 we could optimize that a bit better. But let's just test this properly anyway, again. So I'll play the riser, bring it up. We'll hit the faller. Let's turn it off. I'm going to wait for the faller to continue its loop entirely. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now that clip is stopped. Now let's see if this works. Boom. Okay, so as I suspected, what's happening here is it's triggering the MIDI clip and playing the note on of the MIDI clip a fraction of a second before it turns the instrument rack on. And that's a little bit of an issue because obviously if the instrument rack is off and I play this clip and then I turn it on, it's not going to have any note on value. So one solution or a hack, which I'm kind of at the stage of, is this is really hacky, but like making this incredibly short. Oops. So if I just zoom in here, we'll see how short we can get it. Let's just make it like that, so the riser starts very quickly, just after the start of the clip. Let's see if that works. So this is currently off. Let's stop the clip and let's try it. Okay, that works. I want to try that one more time. Actually, I'll use the faller clip. So here's a faller. Turns the riser off. I just want to wait this out. I could hit stop, but I just want to wait it out. Done. And now we're back to our riser. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's stop these clips and we'll go save as. Techno Machine 1.0.1 riser on MIDI mapping. Cool, so that was a lot of effort for one button, but it was worth it. And yeah, that Max for Live patch, it's so simple, it's so minimal, there's not really anything that can go wrong or crash in that, so I'm happy for that to be part of the CPU footprint and all that. We have 4 more buttons, and I think I want those 4 buttons to attach to we don't need to worry about these fallers because they're controlled by these. The trigger tracks for the dummy thing are controlled by these. This is just the ambience, which I'll turn on again. There we go. So what I think I'll do is those 4 buttons I will assign to the reverb send. I need to be in MIDI mode. So the reverb, the short delay, the crazy delay, dub delay, sorry, this is the crazy delay, and the dub delay. Let me just rename these quickly. Dub delay. Just to refresh you and me, I guess. So we'll jump to a track, like so, get rid of this. Let's play some percussive loop here. Bring it up. Let's find something else. It's pretty boring. Oh. That's a good one. So just to refresh you, we have a reverb. So I can jump to the reverb now really quickly. Change the decay time. Bring it up. Very good. Let's get rid of the reverb for that. Okay, let's send it to... We've got this short delay here, so that's B. So I can jump to that. It's basically just got a auto filter and a delay. I might leave this on. But I can change this myself. Or I could jump to the auto filter and change the LFO speed, for example. Jump back to the simple delay, change the beat back to like triplets, 3/16 notes. Sounds like some kind of porn guitar now. Okay, so that's the time sync delay. So we've got a reverb, a time sync delay, then we've got a short delay. Let me bring that up. And yeah, so I can choose that one with this. This basically has 3 macros. I should rename this to short delay. Macro 1 is the time. Macro 2 is feedback. Macro 3 is type. Because what we have is we have 2 types of delays. You'll see we've got 2 delays here. We've got a simple delay and a pitch delay, or a ping pong. The simple delay is in really, really short times. So if I bring the if I go here, if I bring the feedback right up, you get this type of effect. This is on the pitch currently. This one is a macro, sorry, a chain selector between the 2 delays. So in the pitch one, it does real crazy pitch shift. So it changes the pitch as the delay time changes. Bring the feedback down again. If I bring the type down, we go across to this no pitch one, which is a simple delay, which doesn't have the pitch effect. But it has a similar effect, but we don't have the pitch effect. So again, short delay. Very good. Then we have our dub delay. So I can jump to that with this button. And then we have our parameters, like our gain. Let's get rid of the reverb, get rid of the erosion, get rid of the auto pan. Let's kill it for a sec. Very good. So that is everything mapped on the launch control. That's really cool. That's going to easily allow me to navigate all around my set really quickly and generally have a good time without touching the computer. So let's go ahead and save this live set as. I'm going to create a new subversion here. I'm going to call this 1.1.0 and I'm going to go all launchpad mapped. and save. So I personally think that is the best use of those 64 plus another 16 buttons. I do have another launch pad, but I plugged it in today and it was randomly sending one of the buttons, so it's faulty, so it's not usable, and one's enough to navigate around this set. This, and this, that's enough, I think. Same device chains as the Ambitron FX. It's a bit different, a little bit different. I mean, reverbs and delays are pretty standard for send return tracks. The Ambitron obviously I think has like much lusher delays and affect like things that take much longer time to evolve and do shit. How you doing, Pilk? Hope you're well today, tonight, or whatever. Okay, so let's open up my picture here. We've done Tracks Dummy Automator. Yeah, I had key binders for main drop, but I don't need that because I can do that on the push. I've got key binders to the key racks, which I did. That's the 64 buttons in the middle. And then I just put Launchpad, and that was figuring out what those 8 buttons were. So now we're nearly at the end of our list, which is good, apart from sound design stuff. Automated presets. I'm not going to do that one now. I'm going to cross that out because that's going to be a version 2 thing. That's going to take way too long. This is all sound design stuff. Sound design, sound design, sound design. I'm not going to put the operators and racks. I'm not going to do that either. So the only thing which isn't sound design in this list now is rethink the dummy effects. Now what I mean by that is I've found that the dummy effects, so let me just get a whole scene playing here. Oh cool, I can jump in the tracks like this. So I've found that the dummy clips that randomize are cool. What I found though is I think sometimes it's too intense. I like them. They're good to do just before a drop, when I'm doing a big build up, just before the bass comes back in and the kick and everything. It's cool to do that, but if I want to do little fills, sometimes these are too much. So yesterday what we did is we put everything into a rack and we made it so that the none clip turned the rack off after it's finished playing. So you'll see if I go here and click none, it waits until the very end of the clip, then it turns the rack off. So that was an optimization thing to make sure that none of those effects were using CPU when they weren't needed. But now I've got these in racks, what I can actually do here... Ooh, okay. I run out of knobs. What I can actually do is I can make a dry wet for these dummy clips, which would require an extra knob. Let me just think here. Can I do without any of these riser knobs? Sine, no, I can't do without those. Flanger can't, LFO can't. Reverb, potentially I could... Reverb I could just have decay, I think. Let me test that out really quick. So let's stop all clips, hit the riser button. This one, I think. So let me just get white noise happening. I think resonance is important, but we've got dry wet for the reverb, and we've got decay time. So when this is at 0, it's loud. When this is let me just think here. Got a limiter here. So what I might do is go into my MIDI mode, get rid of the dry wet, get rid of the decay time, and have only this on decay time, but also have it on the limiter. So when I move this knob, so at its 0 value it's quite quiet. So what I'm going to do is go 6 dB on the limiter, and I'm going to go 0 dB when it's at 100%. So what that should mean is, okay, 6 is probably too quiet still. Let's go crazy and go 12 dB. So that even though that doesn't have a dry wet for the reverb, it's enough for the reverb. So let's add in some of this crazy shit. That's cool. So you see how it changes the decay and the gain at the same time? Okay, I'm happy with that. That leaves me with another free knob. What was I going to assign that to? I forgot. Oh yeah, so this is going to be my dummy clip dry wet knob. So it's a little bit weird configuration, but what that means is if we go over to our dummy clips here, we now have these racks, which are good. That means we can go into our chains. I'll just rename these really quickly. So this is wet. Let me just copy that. Wet, I have to do this with all of these. Wet, so I'm going to be using the chain selector as a dry wet emulator. And again, I don't know if I explained in depth, but yeah, I want to be able to have a knob that determines how intense these dummy clip changes are. So I can have them at 20% wet, or I can have them at 100% wet for when it drops, for example. I'd just like to be able to have that control. So if I just do little fills like in the middle of like a progression, it doesn't actually totally fuck the entire music. So now I've created all those wet chains. I need to go ahead and create a dry chain. Dry. I wonder if I can copy this. I wonder if I can just paste that. Yeah, go Ableton. So this is a dry chain. So the dry chain obviously has no effects on it whatsoever. So by using the chain selector in a second, we can mix between the two, the wet and the dry. And then we can assign that knob to all of them. Like so. And now we need to go into our chain selector, chain like so. I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to have to do this 8 times, sorry. Select all of these, drag them out like so. And I want wet to be, I want wet to be when it's at the maximum, dry to be when it's at the minimum. So by moving this knob, at the moment it's on dry. By moving it up to 128, it'll be on maximum wet, 0 dry. So there's my dry wet. So I have to do that 7 more times, bear with me. Dry wet, drag them out, pick the wet, change the ranges like this. No, we'll do the whole thing like that. I have to do it for this one. Boom. And shunk. Hats, chain, dry, wet. Dun, 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 dun. So what do you guys reckon about? Do you reckon I should sell this? Like, seriously? Do you think I should make some income off what I've done here? Or is this too good of a thing that the benefit of music is Music creation will outweigh money. I really need someone else to make decisions like this for me. Otherwise, I'll end up homeless. Okay, that's done. What's up over on Facebook? Just reading everyone. Not streaming on YouTube? Is that not working? Yeah, it says live on YouTube over here. I've got people chatting and stuff. What's up, Maddie? Glad you're liking the stream. Make it a freebie. Yeah. The decision will be made tonight. I may make it pay what you want. Maybe. I'll give an old friend of mine who's used to be my manager. The only reason he stopped is because I stopped gigging as much, but he's very good at making decisions like that and advising. I'll call my financial advisor. I really want to give it away for free. Very much. But I also need money. So I can keep doing weird shit. And the thing is, if I do end up selling this somehow or making it a pro membership thing, I mean, the money I get from it ultimately just means I'm going to be able to create more free content. You know, like if I get an income and I'm satisfied, I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be famous. I'm steady. I got a house. I got food. I got warmth. If that remains steady, then I just pile out as much free shit as I can. So maybe, yeah. I love it how I'm asking the general consensus of the internet whether I should sell something or not. Okay, so now that chain selector is done for all of those 8 dummy clips, I can now go into MIDI mode. I can pick the chain selector and map it to this knob. And we've got to do it for the bass. We've got to do it for the snare. We've got to do it for the hat. We've got to do it to hat 2. Ooh, wrong one. What was hat 2? Bass, kick, percussion. Snare, hat 2. Sure, like that. Percussion. Synth 1. And synth. Oh, I'm totally fucking up here. Okay, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Sorry, as soon as I start thinking about money, my mind goes into a white noise. 954, 954, 954. Yeah, no, that needs to be in this knob. Whoops. Okay, let me just double check that. 954, 954, 954. Yeah. Okay, so if we go out of MIDI mode, this knob controls the dry wet of all of the dummy tracks. So let's give that a test. Sounding pretty wet. What's happening there? Where's that reverb coming from? Oh, the riser. Okay. Interesting to note. Reverb down. So, this is the dummy clip up. So moving that doesn't affect the volume of the output. So this is with the on 100%. Now let's turn that down to 50% and see how it sounds. I used the wrong knob again. I've used the wrong knob completely. Sorry guys, I've really screwed up here. It needs to be this knob, not this knob. This knob is the LFO speed, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. 954. Yes, sorry, that was my bad. I was in another planet when I was mapping, and I mapped all those wrongly. So let's try this again. I don't know where that mapping came from. So this is the automator. No, that's the automator. Dummy clips. So it has to be this one instead. 55. Okay. Okay, so again, 100%, 50%. So that's quite subtle now. You can hear like we're getting the dry and the wet signal. Oh, sorry, let's move the knob while we're triggering these clips. 100%. 0%. Good. Okay. So I'm happy with that. So now we have a dry wet knob for our dummy clips. Pilk, you're obviously brilliant. Well, thank you, sir. I don't think I'm brilliant. I'm just open. You're not in bad company if you choose to make money from it. The target audience is small, nothing wrong with charging a decent fee. It will end up cracked sites anyway. Yeah, well, I don't mind if people steal my stuff. I've always been vocal about that. You'll actually find that some torrents of my paid content are actually made by me, and I'm the first seeder. Like, I figure they're going to end up there anyway, so I might as well be the first person to seed it, so it's the actual proper content with nothing wrong or nothing broken. And I can also put in the NFO file, hey, I made this, go ahead. I do, like, you can have a look on some of the torrent sites. I say I made this. I don't care that you've stolen it. Like, I genuinely don't care. Like, you've obviously stolen it because you can't afford it, and if you can't afford it, then that sucks, because you should still be able to make music. So I don't think people who can't financially afford to learn how to write music should be restricted. So go ahead and do it anyway, you know? Like, more music, the better, basically. The more people doing this, the better in my mind. So yeah, I really don't care if people steal my stuff. The people who do have money do pay, and they keep me going, and that's just how it works. The best part is, though, it wasn't this year, but last year, my April Fool's prank was I released a black noise pack. You might have seen it. I teamed up with Splice, and it was about 4 gigabytes of black noise, which is basically silence. And I had all types of different black noise, like, you know, different textured black noise with different cutoffs and all these different things. So it was 4 gigabytes of wave files that were absolute silence. And I don't know, maybe it was an automated bot, or somebody ripped it from Splice and put it on a torrent site. And it was one of Splice's main pirated sample packs. And I went and checked some of the torrent trackers, and there's these people seeding and leeching 4 gigabytes of silence, not even knowing what they're doing. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, there's just terabytes of internet traffic happening on this troll. That's probably my most pirated thing. I'm like, I don't know, I thought that was quite hilarious. And so did Splice. They're good sports, those guys. Okay, so let's save this now as 1.1.1 dummy clip dry wet, like that. it was kind of weird as well. I'm like, oh no, like I'm kind of wasting the general collective internet, like all of these people just like who have their torrent clients open and just seeding and leeching and seeding and leeching silence. It's like, I don't know, I just felt like I was like slowing down like the internet just like the smallest percentage possible, but I don't want to do that. But then I was like, nah, it's really funny, it's worth it. Okay, so that's what I mean by rethink dummy effects. We now have a dry wet. Everything here left is sound design. So we have brainwave stuff and we have sound design stuff. So what I'm going to do is stop the stream in a couple of minutes. And I'm going to take an hour or so break, have some lunch, go outside while it's sunny. I've been, okay, it's not sunny anymore. What's the time? Okay, it's 6 o'clock at night. Oh, fuck. I'll go and pretend I'm sitting in the sun. And when I come back, we'll get into the sound design, which will probably take another 2 hours. So I just want to do some variations on the tracks that I've made. I need to make the fallers a bit more eccentric. And then we move over to the brainwave stuff finally, which will be the cool stuff. So each track will have its own weird drone. We're going to do lots of modulation and get the brainwave machine kind of modulating things like the dream stream. We're going to get each track having its own kind of weird drone sound. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, optimization session, not the most enthralling, but it is part of the process. So there it was, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day, and if you're around in an hour or two, come back and check out the sound design, which will be a lot more fun, I promise. So I'll catch you guys soon in a bit.